Welcome. Welcome to the 422nd Quidditch World Cup. Welcome to the poll, guys. We're here already. Welcome to the poll, guys. This is our podcast that we do. Well, really not me in particular, but this is the podcast that I happen to be on occasionally, where we talk strictly about comic books. Unlike the weekly poll, we discuss geek culture stuff. Tiffany is our moderator, so Tiffany, do your moderation thing. Since for some reason I'm opening the show instead of you, go ahead and do your thing.
Like, what the hell's happening?
I don't know what's happening. I realized that halfway through.
Pass it on over to you.
Rob has taken over a vicious conquering of the show.
Yes, I have.
Alright guys, so last week we had a fourth week in comics, but we still made it work. I don't know how we made it work, but we made it work. And we're back though, brand new month, brand new set of books, lots of exciting stuff, lots of less exciting things. We got a pretty good selection for you guys. But we're going to start over in DC with Joel and Green Arrow, because we haven't heard about Green Arrow from you in a while. What's going on in Ollie's world?
Well, this was the big finale of the Return of Roy Harper storyline, which for those of you who haven't been watching my videos or keeping up with my tweets, I think it's some of the finest Green Arrow stories that have been told in a really long time. Benjamin Percy goes out of his way to completely rehab the relationship Roy has with Ollie. He brings him back into the fold, tells a really great story. It's funny, Rob, the other day you were complaining about, well, why does it seem like every superhero story is superheroes dealing with the Dakota pipeline? Well, guess what? This was also dealing with the pipeline. But it made sense because it was cutting through reservation land, and one of the things Benjamin Percy brings back is that Roy Harper was adopted by a Native American family, so that was his reservation, and it was Queen Industries under the control of the evil Broderick that was pushing the construction, so this was the driving factor that got them back together. There was also a great flashback story involving a redesigned Count Vertigo, who I thought looked awesome. Vertigo has always been one of my favorite underrated villains. And in the end, they even add a little bit more characterization to the Wild Dogs militia and the evil sheriff that was opposing Oliver Queen, I thought, in a really interesting way. And it sets up for the next big storyline, which is Star City Rising.
Awesome.
It's a winner, 10 on 10. Love the hell out of this one, and not just because I'm a Green Arrow fan. I thought this one kicked a lot of ass.
Of course, Joel is saying 10 on 10 instead of 10 out of 10 because he's Canadian. Just wanted to clarify that for everyone.
It doesn't have to be different.
Oh, it's just a great 10 on 10 there. Hey, let's drink some Screech.
What? Oh, God,
I don't even want to know what that is.
I don't know.
Oh, Newfie Screech, man. Oh, it's a dirty drink, I tell you what.
Get your dirty Screech out of my face.
No.
That's a Black Canary move, the dirty Screech.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot more than a Black Canary move.
Black Canary, the dirty Screech. You just see a little Brazzers logo float down in the corner.
Oh no. That's going to be one of her moves in the new Injustice right there. You got the Canary Scream, you got all these other moves. What's the dirty Screech? Up, up, down, down, left, right.
You have to pay $20 to unlock that move.
Yeah, you got to pay for DLC.
It would be DLC.
DLC.
So overall, maybe not the best time to jump onto Green Arrow.
No. This is the end of the storyline. A really in-depth storyline too, but I would say if you haven't been reading Green Arrow, if you loved Roy and finally wanted to see Roy get some respect, it feels like he hasn't had it since Rise of Arsenal, which has been 6-7 years now since they cut off his arm and killed his daughter and did all that horrible stuff. He's finally kind of back to himself, and they bring up the trucker cap and Ollie makes fun of it. And he's like, yeah, well, at least I don't have a Guy Flynn mustache. Hey, didn't you wear goggles for a bit? What happened to those? Good stuff. Good, funny stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sounds neat.
I like when people talk about facial hair.
It's very important to the character. He's been defined by it.
I like how Joel keeps defending it. Like, I'm a people person. I have people skills.
Yeah, I know, man. You said it's great. I believe you, okay? Man, it's good. All right? We all agree. We agree with you, Joel.
Yeah, Joel, we totally agree. It's great. It's perfect in every way. Just,
If anyone is watching right now, I'm not blinking funny for any particular reason.
If you're in trouble, blink 3 times.
Exactly.
She blinks 6. Does that mean double trouble?
Oh, it does. It means that Team Rocket's here.
Oh, damn it! Someone's gonna make the Team Rocket joke. Damn it.
Hey, great minds think alike. So there you go, guys. If you're not picking up a Green Arrow, then apparently Joel's going to come to your house and beat you to death with maple syrup.
With Green Arrow and a Captain Canuck bottle of syrup.
Yep, it's happening. It's going to happen. So start picking that up. Maybe not now, but next issue, be a good jumping on point, potentially. Otherwise, go back, get the trades, go back, read it. It's awesome. He loves it. He shoots arrows. What more can you ask? So, Rob.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me something about a certain team over in Marvel who they're not quite silver, but they're gold. Talk to me about X-Men Gold.
Oh, X-Men Gold. Okay.
Yeah. What happened?
Mark Guggenheim, man, trying his best. Man.
He just tries so hard, that little nugget.
I feel like the X-Men were like the X-Men universe so far. The X-Men storytelling in Marvel is like this road, right? Like you're just traveling down this road with the X-Men, and then like X-Men Prime and X-Men Gold #1 comes out, and then it's just like a sudden right turn. Like it feels forced, kind of. And I get that they're kind of trying to go back to the way things should be, but it's like right off the bat, and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are here, and it's almost like, I mean, I get that Marvel's trying to go for this showcase with like, hey guys, here's all the things that you remember, here's all the familiar things that you know and love, like, you know, Pyro, Avalanche, yeah, like, do what?
Pyro was neat. I like it when things that get set on fire.
Yeah, Pyro was a guy. Like, he was in the comics at a point in time. Like,
weren't they both dead recently, Pyro and Avalanche?
I'm pretty sure.
Like new versions of them?
I don't. Well, see, that's the question. That's the kind of thing that'll be answered. I'm pretty sure it'll be interesting. It's just one of the things that I love about like great stories, and maybe I'm just kind of nostalgic for the old, you know, back when I used to read the older stories, but it was like a progressive change. It was like we start out with A, then we go to B, then we go to C, then we go to D, and then we end up at Z, which is X-Men Gold. Instead, it's just A to Z. And it doesn't feel like a natural progression for the team. It's like X-Men Prime, pow, they're in Central Park or whatever it is. X-Men Gold #1, pow, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are here. And it's like, but can we like focus on the characters a bit? Because the entire thing about this is supposed to be like a return to familiarity. Well, Colossus as he existed before X-Men Gold was not the Colossus that we knew. So how do we get from that Colossus to the one that we know now? You know, Nightcrawler is suddenly on board. Storm wanted to leave and now she stays. And apparently that was solved over the course of like a single panel in X-Men Prime. So it's like, all right, I mean, can we do a little like character progression? And I kind of feel like this book is indicative of something that Marvel's lost, where they don't know how to write great characters anymore. Like, there's only a few writers who do, but it's like Marvel on the whole doesn't seem to know how to progress characters, you know, or at least maybe Mark Guggenheim doesn't, but it's just like, you know, suddenly now they're going, because it opens up with literally, why do people fear and hate mutants? Well, okay, it's cool to get back to that, but like, I want to see some organic... Yeah, I want to see some organic evolution. You know, I mean, honestly, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants could have been the revelation in like the 6th issue, you know, or the 3rd issue or something like that. But I feel like this should have been like, hey guys, here is the X-Men's return to familiarity. You know, X-Men Prime served that to a degree, but it was more of like an epilogue to Avengers versus X-Men, more so than it was like setting the stage for, you know, the future of the X-Men. So that's kind of what I think. I think it's such a mad dash to set things back to normal that it almost just takes away from what it could be. That being said, it's not bad. I mean, it's a good first start, and we're a issue in, so it's not like, you know, well, this whole thing sucks, you know. I mean, you can't be that way, but it's not. I don't know. I mean, I probably would have done things a little differently. So
I feel like Marvel as a whole maybe needs to take a quick look at what Snyder's doing with All-Star Batman, you know, and those beautiful character expositions, or even looking at their own villains run, where we're going into who these characters are, who these villains are as people, and then flushing out the story from there, as opposed to just jumping from event to event and focusing only on world and event building. Because like world building is fun, but honestly the world has been more than established, and now they have no more material to really run with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that is a really good point. Like, where do you go from here? It's almost like, it's like that Spider-Man argument that I make, like, all the stories that can be told have been told. And so it's like, what do you do next? Well, you focus on the characters. That's exactly what you do. So
we've also had so many status quo change for the X-Men. I'm still not recovered from the last status quo change, and now everything's different again. It's just like, I'm done. I'm tired. I'll check back in with you mutants later once all the movie deals have been dealt with.
Yeah, that's why I say it kind of feels like it needs to be slower. It feels like it's moving a mile a minute, and what happened in this could have had a little more character expansion, a little more character development, and it could have spanned 3 or 4 issues. But I think it was really more, I wouldn't be surprised if it was editorial, like, hey, just like do something and get it out now, and then we'll sort it out later on. And well, X-Men Blue's not out yet, guys, but that's kind of the issue, that I have at the moment anyway. So
I kind of feel like, apart from Logan too, even as somebody who kind of grew up with the X-Men in the early 90s and things like that, I sort of feel like we've kind of forgotten who the characters are as individuals at this point. Like the last event where I remember really connecting with the X-Men as characters was House of M. That's the last time I remember really being invested in who they are as mutants and as people.
And that's a while ago now.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, there's a lot of changes that can be made in 2 issues of comics, so we'll see what's up.
I still have high hope for Astonishing, and I still have high hopes for Weapon X, just because those seem to be off the beaten path, and from writers I really like and trust.
Yeah. That's a good statement. That's a fair statement to make.
So what do you think? If people are interested in the X-Men, if they haven't been on board with them before, do you think maybe this, or maybe wait for something else?
I mean, pick it up. I mean, it can't hurt. I mean, it can, because Marvel's not changing their damn prices. I mean, pick it up just to kind of get a feel for it, but it's kind of clear that it's similar in a lot of ways to what you've read before. So if you weren't really on par with the X-Men before, you probably won't be on par with them now. So.
All right, there you go. This has been, people have been kind of excited about this when all the art came out. I know we spent a lot of time talking about the various teams, but so far I feel like X-Men has kind of failed to impress a lot of people. So we'll have to see where this goes and what happens. And maybe Rob will keep reading it, and if not, I don't know, we'll make Joel read it.
I don't wanna.
You gotta stop liking
for broke my spirit.
You'll read what we tell you and you'll like it, Joel.
Fine, I will.
It's only because Joel has to talk about time babies. I'm like, no.
I didn't read that. I had the chance to read that this week, and I'm like, you know what? Green Arrow comes first. This can wait.
It comes time babies.
I appreciate that. Now, this. Speaking of time babies, no, it's nothing to do with time babies. What's going on in Captain America this week, Kaylin?
Captain America this week was really good. So, Captain America this week, so we've been going along the same train. It's very much a continuation of the last few issues where we're getting Steve's present spliced in with Steve's past, and we're kind of unfolding the full extent of his involvement with Hydra, his entire history with Hydra, and the significance of it leading into Secret Wars. So this issue essentially opens up with Steve Rogers admitting that he manipulated the Avengers and pretty much all of the heroes into fighting against Red Skull's Hydra. So Red Skull, at some point, like, this issue was jam-packed full of information. So we find out that Red Skull essentially took over Hydra from Helmut and from Helmut's father. And, that previous dynasty, and enlisted Steve by holding Zemo hostage. So Zemo is held hostage by Red Skull in the 40s, and through that manipulation, Red Skull got Steve to continue working for Red Skull's Hydra. So Hydra previously, with Steve Rogers, it was not, they were still working against the Allies during the war. They were still not a great organization, but there was an inner power struggle between Red Skull and the former rulers of Hydra. Red Skull dismantled them, took Hydra over by force, and then in order to enlist Captain America's help as a spy and as a sleeper agent, continued, kidnapped his friends and threatened essentially his family, and said, okay, So if you don't do what I say, they're all dead. And day by day, you'll earn their freedom, and you're essentially mine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we kind of learned happened. And this entire time, Steve has been working against Red Skull to take back control of Hydra, so that he would essentially put himself as the new leader of Hydra.
Using many of his own tactics against him, which I liked.
Yes, and it's really cool because the whole purpose of Steve leading the Avengers, of manipulating the Avengers, was to work against Red Skull. So he was fighting against Hydra the whole time, but just so that he could take it over.
Nice touch.
Yeah. And we learned, too, that when Red Skull took Xavier's telepath powers and mind-reading abilities, Steve essentially had to put a little bit of brainwashing and, thinking tactics on himself. And he would plant the idea in other heroes that Red Skull and Hydra were the ultimate enemies, so that they would fight against him for him. All while Steve could work for Hydra undercover, as he had been doing, without ever getting his hands dirty.
Now, I actually had a bit of an issue with that, because he says in this issue, I used the Unity Squad that I started to fight, Red Skull on my behalf, which, hey, read Uncanny this week because it ties directly into this. One happens after the other. That bugged me ever so slightly as a continuity junkie, because I'm like, well, you started the Unity Squad before your history was rewritten, and you disbanded them during Civil War too. So I know you're the ultimate chess master and everything, Steve, but I'm not going to give you this one. You can't claim you did this one. I think it just worked out.
It irked me a little bit too, but I've also, inside, I've given up on Marvel and continuity. Like, I've just kind of looked at it and I'm like, Doom has magic powers now. Honey Bendis just kind of shoved all of these plots down plot holes in Civil War 2. I just give up.
If this is how you say it is, Nick, it's how you say it is.
That's about where I'm at. So, but regardless, it was pretty good, and then Red Skull quickly became Dead Skull after that. So Red Skull gets his powers dismantled. He escapes from S.H.I.E.L.D. Sin, his daughter, takes him in and is like, Papa, are you okay? And he's got his little cane, and he's like, I'm all right, my sweetheart. And then Cap is waiting for him, and then Cap's like, by the way, Red Skull, this is my evil plan all along, and push you out a window.
I loved that so much, because the Red Skull, the irony hits him, and it hits him hard. It was like, no, you can't do this to me, Steve. This was my plan. This was my idea. I did this to you. And now with him gone, that's one less person who actually knows history has been changed and messed with.
Yep.
Well, but I mean, but you didn't know it. You didn't know it falls in continuity, Joel. Like with what Nick Spencer did, with like everything that happened now is still in continuity. It just changes how you see it.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, the Unity Squad was Marvel Now. That wasn't All New Wonderful Marvel. So, I mean, it all still works.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. The only
Throwing
thing
it out there,
that
man.
somewhat doesn't work is the timing of disbanding the Unity Squad.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's like a little bit shaky, but overall I agree.
I mean, I guess we got to remember that he had all that time from the 40s to now, and with history change, like you said, Rob, it happened. It's just his motives were different now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like what they're doing with the flashbacks, though, and it's really just a change in perspective on the Captain America origin and on his, and on his OG battles. So, like, all of those battles happened. All of those battles with the Red Skull happened. It is really just a change in perspective, which is very cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super caught up, but the one thing that feels kind of out of place is making Elise Sinclair Madam Hydra.
Yeah.
Like, that feels a little weird. Like, why do we need Madam Hydra? Like, I feel like it's kind of injecting an unnecessary complication into an otherwise good and simple
She's
thing.
on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now.
Oh, is she? I didn't watch that.
I'm not even watching the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now. I haven't watched that in a while.
Because they're using, like, a silly make-believe world to create a character that we already know into Madam Hydra. So
The Matrix. They all got put in the Matrix.
Yeah.
The real, someone asked actually where the real Madam Hydra is. She is still on the council.
Yeah, she's on the team,
So,
which was interesting because when new Madam Hydra comes to old Madam Hydra recognizes her, making you think, how much did history change?
She looks at her. The new Madam Hydra looks at her and goes, "Bitch, I stole your look. What now?" And she goes, "Yeah, I guess you did." She's like, "You still want a seat on the council?" She's like, "Hell yeah, I still want a seat on the council." And that's
but who wore it better? Is the
it's a who wore it better situation. But at least we're learning that she is more supernatural than anything else, making deals with the devil and having actual tentacle powers and stuff.
But not an actual deal with the devil, because we've seen that happen, and that gets everybody real mad. So basically,
it's not an actual deal.
Every time, guys, we talk about Captain America, not that it doesn't sound good, but it makes me think Secret Empire is going to be really hard to understand if you're not following along with all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'm doing the setup, not get it.
Really looking forward to seeing how they're going to handle that, because there's going to be a lot of people who are just like, I want to be a part of the event. I want to read this now because I heard about it or whatever, and then they pick it up and they better have an amazing explanation page.
Dude, that's a weird thing. Is
come out again?
June or July?
Summer,
Yeah.
I thought, big summer event.
But no, that's the weird thing about Captain America is you got the trial of Maria Hill, then you have 2 one-shots. And a lot of people don't think about those one-shots, but you have the one-shot where you get him basically saying, "Bear, like Helmet, you got to be on my side," and Helmet joins the side. Then you have the other one-shot, I think it is, where where Eric O'Grady and Taskmaster try to blackmail Maria Hill. And then that goes into the reveal of Madam Hydra. I mean, there's a couple, but those 2 one-shots are really important. And a lot of people kind of tend to blow those kind of things over because they're like, "Oh, this story's dumb," and then they ignore it. And then they end up starting Secret Empire, and they're like, "I don't understand what's going on," and so it can be a little deceiving.
It's even funnier because Nick Spencer has been planting the seeds for Secret Empire all the way back in his Secret Avengers run. I went back and reread some of that recently. Oh, he's talking about S.H.I.E.L.D. mind control, and he's mentioning Kobik and mentioning all this other stuff before it became a big deal.
He's been seeding for a long time. And it's kind of like how, just piggybacking off of you, Rob, how Captain America was just supposed to be another tie-in for Civil War II, but the entire plot of Civil War II was located in Steve Rogers' Captain America.
Yeah.
And you would not have understood Civil War II unless you read that.
Yeah. Oh, issue number 0 does come out this month. That's right. I forgot about that.
Oh.
That'll be cool.
Everyone who's not reading Captain America, be prepared to be confused, because that's what I'm going to be, but that's okay.
That's why my channel exists.
House of Cards. It's just House of Cards with Captain America and superpowers. It's House of Cap.
So overall, guys, I think Captain America's been going well. People have been enjoying it. If you're interested in Secret Empire, I think we've said this before, but I'll say it again. You should definitely go out and get caught up on Cap so that you could be caught up on all of the Secret Empiring that will be going on in the very near future, apparently. Starting with issue 0, which I hate conceptually, but I get it. So, all right, guys. So this week, Batman number 20 came out. We all read this one. So this one ended the I Am Bane storyline. And yeah, so just to go over really quickly what happened, we finally get the great knockout, dragged out, whatever you want to call it, fight between Batman and Bane in a little tiny hallway, which is hilarious in and of itself, because Bane's a huge dude, Batman's kind of a big dude, and they're just slugging it out. And of course, while they're slugging it out, and Batman's getting the piss kicked out of him, Batman is having what seemingly is a monologue going on, and it's literally recapping everything that's happened in the Tom King run, which is kind of hilarious all by itself.
Yeah.
And then as it turns out, it's not Batman monologuing, it's Batman's mom talking to him, because they're sitting in a crazy blue Force Ghost room and chatting it up. I mean, in the end, look, no spoilers here, Batman wins. Surprise!
No, really?
Wait, you mean Batman didn't die?
Yeah, no, he didn't even get his back broken this time.
But Bane was totally the protagonist. His name was in the title of the story.
I know.
I was really hoping for Bane to finally get closure with Batman and become the hero that we all know him to be.
I know. They didn't kiss. He didn't kill him. Nothing happened that I thought would happen.
You guys are killing me, man.
Why are you sinking my ships, Tiff?
I don't know, right? It's just so obvious, though. But so this issue, again, it brings this whole thing into a close, and of course we will be starting on the button, which everyone's very excited for, just, if nothing else, to find out what the hell is going on with that button. It's the smallest piece of memorabilia and fan paraphernalia that we've ever seen, that everyone is the most interested in and they've ever been in. But so much emphasis is put literally on the idea of I am Bane and I am Batman that for a minute I felt like I was reading a Frank Miller book. Like, there were these moments, and I don't know if it was partially some of the like layouts in the panels, or the fact that he said I'm Batman, which partially took me back to the cartoon show, but then partially took me to the I'm the goddamn Batman. I get it. There's a subtlety to this issue. Like, there's something about it where it's different. Like, yes, we're having the fight. Of course, Bane is a hulking brute, like, monstrous character. So Tom King's trying to do something a little bit different in making it not just an action sequence, but, like, trying to bring some depth to it. But for me, this was not... I don't know. This wasn't as strong a finish to the story as I was hoping for.
I agree.
Like, it didn't do it for me. And I know Rob's over there desperately going to explain to us why we're wrong, but there's almost nothing you're going to say here that's going to sway me on this one, because really, like, for me, Tom King has his ups and his downs, and I don't know if maybe he's just best at writing minis, you know, because, like, his Vision, 12 issue was spectacular, but, like, you only have so much story to tell there, and you don't have to stretch it out. This wasn't it for me.
Can we say to this whole, like, ooh, we're hearing a monologue, over the whole comic. Is it Batman? Oh no, it was this other character you didn't know. He did that trick already with Hugo Strange early on. He's reusing his own material now.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Hugo Strange one, too, was so strong and so out of the park when he did it the first time. Like, when I first read it, I really didn't know that was Hugo Strange. And usually that's a pretty easy device to, like, cherry pick because it's so common. Mm-hmm. It's just not super I mean, you don't see it all the time in comics. And I was like, that's really neat. I really liked it. But we knew it was pretty obvious that it was somebody else talking while we were reading it. And it was just like,
Yeah.
I wasn't like, whoa, Batman's mom.
Yeah, it was this weird thing where it's just like, I guess as he's being beaten to death, seemingly, he just goes to a place in his head where it's just his mom is. Which is interesting. Like, it's the significance of just the death of the mother, which I understand, but, like, to me it was always the death of the parents. Like, it was both of them. And yes, of course, like, every child's very connected to their mother, but it was just, I don't know, like, it was just funny that it was just her.
In previous comics and video games and throughout, Batman's history and throughout his mythos, whenever he hallucinates his parents, it is always both of them.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, even in the Arkham games, when, that first boss fight with Scarecrow and you're looking at the bags, it's still both the parents. It doesn't matter what medium you're telling the Batman story. It's always two of them. So I feel like if you were going to be so significant as to pick just one, and particularly to choose the mother, I feel like you would need some build or some context behind it, or at least some seeding to make it just the mom, and have that make sense. That's a strong choice, but there needs to be something backing.
I have two theories on that. Either one, because the previous issue we saw how close Bane was to his own mother, and they're trying to draw parallels between the two men, or, and this is the practical one here, they didn't put Thomas Wayne in there because Thomas Wayne was Batman in Flashpoint. The button is making reference to Flashpoint. We might be seeing Thomas Wayne in the next couple issues, and they didn't want to double dip.
Right, but, like, here's the thing. Batman's psyche doesn't know that.
Yeah, Batman...
Like, Batman...
His psyche shouldn't know that.
Yeah, Batman doesn't know that yet. That's where it... Because that theory is really cool, and that's a really awesome idea, and I want that to be the case. But Batman's brain meats would not know that.
Oh, but Batman reads the solicits, man. He gets them on the Bat computer. He knows what's coming out.
He sure does.
The Bat computer always reads between the lines.
Yeah.
The Bat computer's basically MatPat with all those theories.
Huh. Dude, I love this story.
And hang on, before you go.
We do have some subs. We have some splooges that need to be given out to various people. Dreadlink. Splooge. Course costly. Splooge.
Silent but deadly.
The sensual splooge.
I like the gentle ones.
I like
gentle
these
splooge.
whisper splooges.
No, okay. One of the things that I've learned with Tom King when it comes to reading his stories is they're always better in trade. They're always better in trade. I figured that out pretty fast with I Am Gotham, just because of the fact that the stories, it does, like, if you read them individually, they do seem kind of disjointed. It does, like, I think Bane, I Am Bane is probably the most cohesive of, like, all the stories he's written so far, but they do kind of seem disjointed, and so they are always better in trade. That being said, this would read a whole lot better if they did it like Scott Snyder's Court of Owls, where you just get the whole I Am series just in a single trade. Then it'd read incredible, because you would just read it as one solid story. That being said, I think if you look at this whole thing for what you look at I Am Bane and you read the story in its entirety, it fits beautifully from the time that Bane pops the red flare and shows that he's got, like, Batman's closest allies held prisoner, the time that you have the whole, Maximilian Zeus going on his, whole speech and everything, these cool diatribes and stuff. That was super cool. I think that what made this interesting was the idea that it was him kind of wrapping things up, but what I think Tom King was doing is he was basically writing a story, I am not Snyder. I think that's what he was kind of trying to do here, because you can draw a lot of parallels between what he did and what Scott Snyder did, especially when it comes to, like, how the stories are done. They're just like a single overarching story composed of several parts. And Snyder did the same thing, Court of Owls, City of Owls, and then Batman Zero Year, and then Endgame, or Death of the Family, Endgame, all that kind of stuff. It's just one big story, that all kind of fits together once you get it in its entirety. But I think that with this final issue, it was actually cool to see, because it seemed like it was like all the history that they'd had combined down into the singular moment. Because there was literally reference to everything that had happened, Bane breaking his back in Nightfall, all that kind of stuff. It was this whole thing finally coming together. But more so than that, and this is one of the things I love so much about this, the Bane that we saw in this story was like an amalgamation of Banes. All right, it was the Nightfall Bane that we know and love, and it was the Tom Hardy Bane that we've come to recognize in The Dark Knight Returns, because you had the thinking man's Bane, who was like, I'm going to basically engineer a circumstance to where I put Batman's back against the wall. I'm going to take his friends and allies, I'm going to force him to give me Psycho Pirate back. Of course, Batman says no, and then he switches over to Tom Hardy Bane, which is just like a force of nature. And that's the coolest thing, is because it's Bane fighting, like, as a drug addict, basically. It's a guy who's just, like, feeding for being rid of the pain that he feels, with the whole Venom thing, because he doesn't want to be on it. And that's the worst thing, is, like, the whole fight is, like, he doesn't want to be on Venom, hence the reason he's going after Psycho Pirate, so he can get off Venom and then use Psycho Pirate, to keep him, in a state where he doesn't have to, feel all that pain or anything. And that's what I think makes this story so cool. I think that with Tom King writing Batman, it's more than like, hey, here's two guys, here's like a giant slugfest, here's a repeat of, Nightfall minus the broken back. I think it's more of him just kind of saying, like, here's a final fight between these two, or at least as I see it, the final fight between these two. And I think it works. I mean, I think it comes together pretty well. I mean, I think it's a, I wouldn't say it's a strong finish. I wouldn't say it's a strong finish to this story, but I would say it's as good of a finish as you could hope to get with Tom King writing the story, which is actually pretty good. So yeah.
That's not a compliment.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's a good finish, I think. So.
It's okay.
I was with it right until the end.
Yeah, the build was really good, except for a couple of the random Catwoman parts where I was like,
Yeah.
But the build was really, really good. It's just the finish was not nearly. I think maybe part of my problem with it is, and I think the reason why I thought this finish was so disappointing was because this story reads a little bit more like a novel, where you have a lot of seeding, you have a lot of sub-elements to it, You have a lot of callbacks, you have a lot of parallels, there's a lot of symbolism, the dialogue is very heavy, and it's a bit more like a novel than it is like a comic, especially in the way that it's structured, because I agree with you, Rob, like, it's going to be so much better in a trade, because all of these pieces tie together very much in the way that you would if you were writing Batman as a novel as opposed to Batman as a comic book. And I feel like partly why the ending was so disappointing, and I thought this when I was reading it, was I was like, man, this would be a really cool last line of a book, but I'm just really disappointed because this is a comic book. And I expected something a little bit more sparkly.
We should also probably mention, too, one of the other big revelations of this story is King essentially gives Batman a mission statement for this run, and that is the reason I'm so obsessed with Gotham Girl and the reason I'm trying so hard to save her is because I fear I may die one day. In fact, I fear I may die very soon, and I want to make sure Gotham is in the hands of someone who can protect it, someone who doesn't need to fear death or old age or anything like that.
Oh, dude, that was the coolest thing. I actually recorded the audio for that one, like for the whole I Am Bane thing, and that was one of the points I made. I was like, that's why like Gotham and Gotham Girl mattered to him so much, because he even says in the story, you know, he's like I've trained Robins and so on, you know, and I've lost people. He was like, but then suddenly here come these two godly beings seemingly out of nowhere, and we still don't fully have the whole story fleshed out with them, but it's like here come these two beings, you know, seemingly out of nowhere, you know, that are basically Superman. You know, and if I can train them, if I can groom them, if I can make them something great, then I can walk away from being Batman, possibly even live as close to a normal life as Bruce Wayne can live, and then, you know, feel comfortable knowing that Gotham City will be protected. But when the chance came along, Gotham went crazy because of the machinations of Psycho Pirate. You know, he died. Gotham Girl basically has been living in a state of fear for however long. You know, and it's cool. I mean, it's a really cool. It is a great story that will read great in trade.
I really like the idea, too, that I love the idea of a Batman, an older Batman, that's ready to retire. Because, like, you know, Damian is currently being groomed, Nightwing is off being his own hero, Tim is dead. You know, so, like, he's almost done raising his last child. You know, he doesn't have too many more years until Damian is all grown up. And Damian's already stretching his legs with the Titans, and he's this older dad looking at retirement, looking at maybe spending a little bit more time being as normal as possible. And you also kind of saw a glimpse of that in Nightwing when they're talking a little bit about Sean and Dick Grayson and Sean, and, you know, Dick possibly moving on from that superhero life to settle down and try to be normal. And so you see Batman trying to build these hopes on somebody who does have powers, somebody who will be just as qualified as he is. And even looking at Gotham Girl in her incredibly damaged state, he still has so much hope that he could potentially pass the reins to her and even to Damian. Yeah. I really like the idea of going into this arc with Gotham Girl and with Damian working to take over Gotham City.
You know, it's interesting because at the end, he seemingly goes back on that. Because when he's talking to his Force Ghost mom, he's like, no, I just helped her to help her. And I think he may have realized how not Batman it will be of him to do that. To rely on someone else like that.
That's like the one part of the story I didn't like.
Yeah.
You mean the end?
Where it's like you get so much character development, you're like, oh my god, look at all this character development. Batman is growing and changing as a character. Holy hell. Oh, no, he's not. All right.
Which fits very much in how I feel Tom King does view Batman, because he's written a lot of stories that show him to be a dangerous maniac, even in this arc where he let all the inmates out to soften up Bane for him. I think in Tom King's mind, and he grows and he evolves, but then he doesn't do it because Batman sucks. That's why.
Because like Batman is cray.
You're like, what are you doing, King? And I gotta tell you, all right, this whole fight, partway through, I was like, I feel like I've seen this before. And look, you've seen Batman punching people and being punched by plenty of people, but I don't know why this fight in particular made me think of the mutant leader fight from Dark Knight Returns.
Ooh.
But not done as well.
Oh.
in which Batman is allowing him to win until he gets his opening. You know what I mean? Like, with the mutant leader, he's like, I just gotta let him, like, spend himself, because then I'm gonna take him down, and he does, right? It's very clever, and it's very cool, and it's very, like, gritty and angry.
It's also very cliched, though.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, I saw that. I've seen that before, and, like, while, yeah, Rob, I love the idea of this being the last fight between Bane and Batman, Batman is barely focused on Bane. You know what I mean? Like, he's thinking about everything else. He's thinking about Gotham Girl. He's thinking about what he's going to have for dinner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's barely there.
I'll just throw my door.
And I really wish that this like, monologue had gone throughout at least the entire I Am Bane series. Like, we didn't know who it was up until now. Like, as though this were part of where Batman goes sometimes in his head.
So I feel like, just speaking of the Lobster, it makes me think this was what I was missing. I wanted it to be, character arc-wise, I wanted it to be more like Lego Batman, where the character arc actually goes somewhere.
The most emotionally mature version of Batman we've seen in a long time.
I know. Well, that's like the only thing we really never get with Batman, is we never get that character arc. It never comes to fruition, and it's like so annoying. It's Batball. It's Batman blue balls.
Winged Mammal Man.
He must always be vengeance. He must always be the knight.
I am Winged Mammal Man.
Yeah, and apparently someone was like, they're still on Batman. I'm like, no, we're on Winged Mammal Man. Come on.
He's an indie character. Maybe you've heard of him. He's very underground.
Yeah. He's the dusk. He's not quite the night.
Mm-hmm.
He's not quite the night.
All right, so I think overall, like, some of us weren't a fan of how this all ended. Some of us were a huge fan of it, kind of, sort of. You know, if you've ever read the I Am Bane, hopefully you do pick this up. You can judge for yourself. But no matter what, I think we're all excited for what's coming next. And hopefully it'll just keep getting better and better as we go along. But now we will get off Winged Mammal Man.
Real quick. I think Rob secretly agrees with Tiff. Okay, that's it.
Just throwing that out there to the universe.
Throwing that out there.
Great. But now that we've talked about one mammal, why don't we go over to Marvel and talk about a totally different mammal? And we'll, Rob, why don't you tell us about Wolverine number 19?
It was decent enough. I mean, it's like, it's a story that exists, you know, and well, it kind of disappoints me to say that too, because like everything up to this point was amazing, and now it's just like, there's a virus in Roosevelt Park, and, like, I'm the only one who's immune. It's like, yeah, because you have a healing factor. So does that mean that, like, anybody with a healing factor will be okay? Like, recruit Deadpool and go. I think it's one of these instances where it's kind of like, okay, now that, like, Tom Taylor's like, okay, now that we've fleshed out that story, where do we go from here? I wouldn't be half surprised if Tom Taylor has, like, a quarter of his mind on All New Wolverine and 75% on Injustice 2. I mean, I would be surprised if that's what's going on. But but again, I mean, it's the first issue, so it's really too early to tell. I mean, if you would come to me with like All New Wolverine number 1 and said, "What do you think?" I would have been like, I mean, it's not very good. It's a story, but I fell in love with it after that. So I mean, it's only really one issue, and there's only so much you can do. I think it's cool to have like cameos. I think it was a really good idea to bring to have like Ironheart. We had like what was it? You had Carol Danvers, who whisked her away. You had Spider-Man. You had like a lot of members of the superhero community responding to this massive event in Roosevelt Park, and that's cool because I think otherwise it would have felt weird if it was just her and like this calamity. But I mean, I think it was kind of cool to roll those things in. I think it's cool to keep her from feeling like she's out in left field. That being said, it just kind of feels like the story of X-23 has been told, and now they're just killing time. That's kind of how it comes across to me anyway. So
I really want them, and this goes back to like that innate problem with Marvel that we were talking about, is doing a lot of character work and being able to expand their characters sort of beyond their norm. Because like when you think about some of their villain runs that they're doing, they've managed to flush out some, I mean, being able to flush out Doctor Doom, like a character with such a vast and detailed history, and being able to do the same too with Kingpin, though you do have a little bit more wiggle room with him, I admit, than with Doctor Doom. I know, and being able to do that with Thanos when you think all of the stories have already been told, but then you dive into that deeper character work and you're able to pull out these really cool story arcs from the character work and from that development. And I want to see them do that with new Wolverine. How does she fit into this hero role? How does she do all of these things? I mean, maybe that's what we'll get in this new story arc. Hopefully it's a little more character work and a little bit more fleshing her out and fleshing out what type of hero she is now that we've kind of gone through this origin turmoil.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, too, because I'm like an arc behind, Rob, so I'm sure you would have the answer to this. What's the story behind the new costume? Because I thought Laura looked awesome in the classic yellow and blue. What was the justification for making her go all Uncanny X-Force?
I don't remember if did they explain. I don't think they explained why she did it.
She got new clothes.
Yeah, like she put a new suit on. But honestly, I mean, and in truth, like the more I think about it, this is only a 3-issue arc. It's not going to be a full 6. So it's not going to be a full line. And in truth, it may just be Tom Taylor killing time because remember, Generations comes out, and so the old Wolverine is going to come back. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they do that because honestly, if I were Tom Taylor and I were continuing the story, I would delve into the story of like Gabby. I would delve into the story of like why Old Man Logan hates her so much and what it is that she did that caused him to lose X-23. But, or I guess, for her to walk away before he viciously murdered all the X-Men at the trickery of Mysterio. But I don't know why I'm laughing about that.
Because it's Mysterio. Anything with him becomes silly. I did it. It was me and my...
But, again, I mean, that could very well be the case. They're just kind of like, going through the process of just like, hey, we're just kind of holding things down until Generations comes out. And if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that for a lot of characters. Like right now, Ultimates is approaching no man's land. I mean, they've essentially wrapped everything up. But Ultimates is kind of in no man's land now. Because of that, it seems like a lot of the characters are just going to kind of be in stasis, so to speak. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got a handful of just really short story arcs that just focus on, that felt like annuals. And, they just lasted until Generations came out. But again, it's only 3 issues, and it may just be some small little thing, and whatever, we move on to the bigger picture. That wouldn't surprise me. But
it's filler, like when the Naruto animation team is waiting for new chapters to come out, and they're just like, just do a filler episode.
I never read Naruto, so I don't know. I have no idea what's Naruto.
It'd take you forever, man.
Ninjas.
There's like 1,000 issues and like 1 million episodes. And
I've heard of Naruto. Like people have mentioned it, and I'm just like, it's like a cartoon or something like that. I think so.
It's an anime and a manga.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Run home and watch Naruto.
It's some mango and some animu. It's actually the first arc is really good, and you'll probably like it a lot, Rob. And then it goes like doop 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 doop. And then you get to like the last arc, and it's really, really good again.
Oh, okay.
My favorite line in Attack the Block is when John Boyega tells that kid, "Run home and watch Naruto," in his British accent. I love that so much.
All right, so what did we learn about Wolverine? Well, Rob thinks it was meh. We heard Benny before say he thought it was awesome, and we don't know if this isn't just leading to the inevitable destruction and or rebooting of the Marvel Universe.
That being said, I love seeing her in the X-Force outfit. Like, she looks amazing. Yeah,
it's a good suit. I liked the old one, but it's not bad.
Everyone is going to cosplay that one because that one would look really good in real life. And part of me is like, did they change it for TV? Because that looks like it's very TV-able.
Interesting.
Yeah. Who knows? How about this? It could have something to do with Generations. If they're bringing back a classic Wolverine in a classic yellow and blue costume, they're going to be like, we can't have, that's too much yellow and blue.
It might be more than that, too. Speaking of the Wolverine family, do you hear the rumor kicking around now that we might be seeing Ultimate Wolverine's son, James, making the jump very soon? Because there's a bunch of solicitations with a clawed Wolverine character with his face blurred out.
No.
Yeah, he looks like a young man. It's probably gonna be him.
It's blurred out. They didn't rip it like it was being clawed apart.
No, that would have been cool.
Come on, guys.
This is why Chip should be running things. Look at that.
What are you doing?
It's as we know, Marvel's marketing team is not the greatest.
It's just lazy. It's just lazy.
Do we need another Wolverine character? We're finally back to a manageable amount now. You got Laura doing her thing. You got Old Man Logan. It's fine now. Please don't oversaturate with Wolverine.
That was a problem with Wolverine before.
And Laura's the perfect legacy character for Wolverine. She's
is.
perfect. It's just a natural progression. It's just keep her.
That's what I've been saying about her character. It's just natural for her to take over Wolverine.
And she's cool too. She has great personal elements, and she has great aggressive, hairy elements.
Yeah,
fine.
But I mean, a final thought before we move on. Yeah, no, I would say it's a story that's. I mean, if you dug it, I mean, if you dug all new Wolverine, pick this up. Because like I said, I never judge a comic based on like a first issue. Like I never say, well, I'm going to read it or ignore it based on a first issue. You got to read a story arc. That's my rule. Is you got to read the first story arc of a comic. The only exception to that is America. That story sucks, but
that's fine. You don't have to read it because the whole comic was made of spite. Go support the original creators doing their own book that's not called America.
America immediately became a parody of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it got so progressive that it became ignorant. I don't know if like any of my LGBT friends out there know, but when you have like that really, really old relative who has really old prejudices, and then they try to come around to be really accepting, but it's really ignorantly accepting. Like they start to be like, oh, well, why don't we go to the homosexual clubs, and you need any ecstasy? I heard there's a lot of that. It becomes that kind of ignorance, and that's exactly what America did.
And it's made of spite too. Like it made to spite the original creators. I will never get over that.
It parodied it. It could have been something that was cool, but then it just became a parody of itself. It was just the hip hop B-girl sorority part was just wow, just so many stereotypes. Just so many.
Yep. So moving on.
Yeah.
Don't read it. It'll melt your brain.
Well, how about we talk about something else then, like Harley?
Yay!
That was just what she needed.
I know. It's like we planned it. We didn't plan it. Kaylin, that's you.
Do your thing.
Oh yeah, the only one who reads Harley.
Rob, unless you want to just pretend like you read it and just tell us what you think happened. No.
Harley, okay, so they picked a story arc to go with. So I don't know. Yeah, the last Harley issue that we read, it was a little weird. There was a naked blue alien that wasn't Dr. Manhattan running around destroying the city, and then Power Girl decided to go on a date with him so that he'd stop destroying the city. And then he was like, so you want to do it? And then she beat the crap out of him. Then people were stealing hobos and eating them. And then somebody came back from the future to kill Harley. And that was like one issue. So
She's
it
busy.
turns out, I know, they picked a story arc to go with. Thank God. It was classic Power Girl, Tevya. Sorry, I was responding to somebody in the chat. It was classic Power Girl, so we got to see Power Girl and Harley do pinup girl hijinks together, which was that was cute, and that was really the best part of that issue. And now they've picked a storyline to go with, and they've picked the picking up hobos off the street and eating them storyline, which is a pretty good one. It's this first issue that goes into that story arc is really entertaining. Harley goes on an investigation to try and find out who is picking up the homeless people and killing them when her best homeless friend that hangs out in front of her house goes missing.
Oh no.
So she dresses up as a homeless person and gets her and all of her friends to try and figure out who is kidnapping these. And at the very end of the issue, Harley gets kidnapped and is going to where they've been taking all of the homeless for murder.
Okay.
So, like, it's a good issue. It's a really good jumping on point. I would not jump on with the last issue because it was really all over the place. But this issue got really focused. There's a clear storyline. Harley makes cute jokes, and she does a lot of adorable outfit changes, as is classic for a pinup character like Harley. And they go on some investigations. It's cute. It's adorable. Just read it.
All right, there you go.
If you like Harley.
If you like Harley, go get this, and if you don't, then go get it anyway. I don't know.
Anyway, because Amanda Connor needs your money.
There you go. Yes, she does. To help out the I don't know. To help out herself. So a book that I've seen people mention a couple of times, like, as though, okay, here's the thing.
Oh wait,
guys.
I forgot one thing.
Yeah.
At the very end of this book, there is a classic Joker Harley story that is done in Bruce Timm style.
Oh, nice.
And they go in on a heist, and it's a classic Joker Harley duo romance story at the very end. Okay, that's it. That's all. I figured it would be important. Okay.
No, guys, just to confirm, I already put it in the chat, but still, we don't do the comics in alphabetical order. We do in whatever order I'm gonna put them in, and I mix it up every week, so you never know what's coming when. So there's a whole chart with colors and stickers.
It's pretty cool.
So we're gonna talk about Champions next. Joel, you read this. I read half of it, but I don't have much to say because I haven't read it all. But I don't care. Talk about it. I'll finish reading it later.
Okay. So, yeah, this is the Champions being set up against their new arch foe, the Freelancers, who are basically the evil inverses of them, where, the Champions, are filled with ideals and feel very strongly about things and want to be more than heroes. They want to be a movement. The Freelancers are a bunch of D-bags from LA with superpowers who only love money. And
they all have goatees because they're mirror versions of people.
They basically are. And what's interesting about this is that the Freelancers have decided, well, okay, we fought them physically and we lost. So let's do something interesting here. These guys love their social media presence and they love putting out this image of being, good heroes trying to save the world. They want, anyone can be a champion. Well, let's destroy their public image and let's destroy their social media, essentially. Let's go after them that way by implying that the Champions were running a bum fight ring.
They brought back the bum fight.
Yeah, man, friggin' the homeless people are having a bad time in comics this week, aren't they?
I feel so bad for the comic book hobos.
Yeah, they're fine.
What's great about this is that, like, the Champions actually come in and they gotta talk to the cops, and Vision steals the show on this because he's like, oh, well, the children couldn't have been running a bum fight ring because I was picking them up from paintball in the Quinjet. And the cops are like, you do that a lot? Well, yeah, my daughter's the team.
Hang on, but where were they playing paintball?
Jersey.
Yeah.
They totally were. Everyone knows Jersey has the best
in
paintball.
Jersey.
That's right. That's
That happened in place this last couple of weeks.
I assumed Kamala knew exactly where to take them.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Kamala's actually really interesting in this issue because she takes, like, the attack on their image more personally than just about anyone else, and it's a side of her character we haven't really seen before. Because, for her, I have to imagine that, setting a good example for her as both a superhero and, as a Muslim living in America is probably, like, a big deal for her.
Yeah.
And to have that attack, she takes that super personally. And, like, she goes nuts on one of the Freelancers. Like, she gives her a beating the likes of which you've never really seen this character dole out before. And I'm like, wow, they took her to a dark place over this. And in the end, obviously, the heroes are victorious. But the Freelancers get them again in a really great way. They're like, okay, look, you beat us. You made us, give an apology because, you're threatening our money, you're threatening our mercenary operation. Well, guess what we did? So that Champion logo you love so much and this Champion IP and everything, guess what, hippies? You didn't trademark it, so we trademarked it. Now we're going to put it on all this shit you hate. And come at us. And I'm like, wow, this is totally how teens with superpowers would fight.
This is how teens in general would, like, have a vicious internet fight, which is kind of interesting because they were seeding that. I feel like they were seeding that a little bit in the last Ms. Marvel issue, where she battles the literal troll, but she also takes the social media attacks on her friends in a really personal, really hard way. So it's interesting to see them sort of expand on that.
Do they also... I was going to say, do they also go out and buy up a bunch of domains and then squat on them because one day somebody's going to want them and then they'll charge them thousands of dollars?
Yes, they did that too, probably. They did everything. The Freelancers literally thought of everything.
Now they're my enemy.
The freelancers, though, the trademark thing is tentative, because if you're trademarking something that someone already has a copyright to and has been using for a significant enough period of time and in a significant way, you actually would not legally be able to trademark that. So if they went and enforced their copyright on that trademark, they could potentially get it reversed, or they could sue the freelancers in court.
This is why they gotta hire Daredevil and She-Hulk, and that's gonna be the next issue.
That's gonna be the next issue. The copyright enforcement.
Nice. Gonna take all their YouTube videos, get them pulled down.
That's right. It's real bad. It's not good.
Man, the superheroing is getting pretty legislative.
It is, like, it's just like, wow, this is so real, what they're doing with here. Wow.
Going to court over copyright issues.
So real, man. It's nice too, because and again, keeping it with the characterization thing, Vision says, oh, well, I'm hanging out with you guys, I can come and help you fight the freelancers, and they're like, well, we left your Avengers team on not great terms, and you know, having you here would kind of confuse our message. We're not really in love with you Avengers are doing. It's like, okay, well, be back for dinner then, bye.
That's gotta be weird, right? Like, none of the other ones really have to deal with that element.
Yeah, doting dad Vision is great. I hope we see more doting dad Vision.
Right? But Vision. Like, it's like, yeah, that's my dad. He's like, yeah.
He's a weird robot. I'm a weird robot too.
Yeah, it's like, I love him, but it's because I'm programmed to.
It's a whole thing.
It's a thing, okay? Don't judge my robot love.
I want to see a family cosplay of the Vision family.
Right?
I need to see it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, someone will do it. Someone will do it, and it'll be fun and awesome. Alright, so Champions was a politically charged and apparently, like, copyright law charged issue.
Lots of legislation in this.
Yeah, lots of I do kind of like it. It's cute. It's fun. Again, for a very specific audience. So if you're into the Champions, go out, grab this, see what's going on. Watch as they fight weird legal battles. But also battle with your fists. But
get a little of everything in this issue.
Exactly. Now I'm gonna maybe I'm speaking out of turn here by saying this, but I think we're going on to an issue that we probably all really liked, and Rob's gonna talk to us about it, right, Rob? Right? Rob? Superman number 20?
Yeah. Yes.
You remember to unmute himself.
Rob, do you want this one for the weekly recap?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, guys. After being right about Mr. Mxyzptlk, I have a feeling I may or may not be right about this. So, dude, I loved what they did in this story. Mm-hmm. I'm really hoping this leads to, like, Superman versus his son. Like, I'm hoping it leads to him fighting his son. Like, that would be the coolest thing. They're going for, like, the Gohan effect, right? Where it's like, this kid will be God one day. And it's it's so cool to see. But that was the coolest thing, is it was funny to me, because this is why I love Superman. See, guys, this is why Superman is the best thing coming out of DC Rebirth right now. It has so many, like, small, great moments. I mean, when he's like, Batman doesn't eat pie. You know,
yeah,
and little moments like that. But it's Batman showing up on the doorstep of Superman and just being like, your son is not what he should be. Like, your son is just essentially a normal kid with powers that kind of flare up occasionally, but, like, his powers should be insane right now.
Should be unto a god.
Yeah, like, they should be way beyond you. And this is something else that I've kind of been thinking about, because when I was going through, I read that issue twice because I was looking for little clues and stuff like that. What if we get Jonathan Kent versus, like, Superboy Prime?
Oh, that'd be
fun.
That would be beast. You talk about a clickbait video, man. If I upload a video called Superman's Son versus Superboy Prime, dude, that video would blow up the internet. It would be insane.
Come on.
But
Rob, can I have that?
No, you can't have that. Yeah. But I think that the greatest takeaway from this for me is the fact that we're getting some more emphasis on Jonathan. And I get that we got Superman Reborn, which was designed a bit. Which, by the way, he looks amazing right now. I love the costume right now. He looks incredible.
So they
I
took
get
the best elements of each costume.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they did. Like
same hero, new boots.
Yeah, we get the whole like. Superman coming back to the way it was, and we had all that emphasis, mild mannered and all that kind of stuff in Action Comics, and a lot of what's been happening right now has been emphasizing Superman and or Mr. Mxyzptlk. That's been the whole, interest here, what's going on, that kind of thing. We get Super Sons, which is cool, but I'm glad we're kind of going back to focusing more on Jonathan, because I love his character, and I'm glad to see him, getting some growth and some expansion and different things like that. I'm excited to see what happens next. Like, apparently Batman's becoming Venom. Like, I'm excited to see what happens next.
He sure was.
Mm-hmm.
That
Superman is mediocre. Smack yourself. Superman is amazing right now. That's crazy talk.
Come and smack
Superman
yourself.
Is mediocre.
That Basculin guy. That's crazy talk. No way.
You better have meant that in an Immortan Joe ironic mediocre kind of way.
So did anyone else have any other thoughts about Superman number 20?
I think it's so cool that the dairy farmer came back into prominence in this. Yeah. I like that they have seeded him throughout all of these books, and I was suspicious with his run-in with Frankenstein when he didn't freak out when Frankenstein Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. was around. I'm like, what's your problem, old man?
I assumed he went to Nam, and that's why he wasn't upset.
I was at the Nam, Frankenstein. You don't scare me.
That episode where he had where John had the horror hallucinations.
Yeah.
And the old man was like, I'm just a creepy old man with my dairy cow. I was like,
Like, I think I saw this in Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
No, like, I like that they went back to that, because that was, like, a seemingly, like, in-between story, where they're like, oh, creepy thing, and then they did the whole, like, who's Clark Kent, like, arc, and now we're like, oh, no, we didn't forget. We had to do that. But we're going back to that. Let's find out what's going on with Grandpa Dairy Farm.
How amazing is Lois too when she sees them all hanging out in the barn conducting superhero business? She's like, "Would you idiots please come inside out of the storm and act like regular people for a minute?"
Exactly. I have pie.
Okay.
Because this is the Kent Farm. The Kent Farm always has pie, apparently.
And that's good. That's something that needs to happen.
I want college humor Batman. I want a college humor Batman reenactment of that panel when Lois is like, "Why don't you boys come in for pie?" And you just have Batman being like, "What kind of pie?"
Yeah, like anytime's a good time for. Like pie's one of those anytime meals. Like anytime's a good time for pie.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. Like pie's
except for Batman.
Yeah, except for Batman. And that's I think that's the real crime. That's the real crime in this story. That Batman doesn't eat pie. Like, that's the real crime here, because I have to believe that if Lois Lane can make pies, they're probably amazing. Like, I have to believe that.
They're not as good as Ma Kent's, though, I bet.
Oh, I doubt it. Yeah, like, dude, I bet her cherry pie is insane. Like, I bet it's amazing.
She probably passed the recipe on to her. It's not as good, but, she tries to follow it as best she can.
Or like her key lime pie, or like her apple pie, especially. My dad was a weirdo and used to put cheese on apple pie.
That's a thing, man. That's a big thing.
Cheese on apple pie is really good.
God.
A hard Wisconsin cheddar cheese smothered on top of an apple pie. That's delicious.
That's weird.
I'm sorry. You know what goes on top of apple pie? If it's nothing, then it's ice cream.
There we go.
Or Miracle Whip,
No, or just ice cream.
Miracle
Whip, ice cream.
The mayonnaise alternative?
Leave, Joel.
Or Miracle
Don't
Whip.
belong here.
Whatever. I mean, hey, once you start putting cheese on, you'll put any crazy thing on it.
Not Miracle Whip.
Well, the rules are out the window just throwing cheese on pie. What the hell's going on here?
Joel, it's been great having you today, man, but I'm so sorry to see you have to go. But as always, you've been a great guest, and we will see you next time, sir. Anyway, back to Superman.
I meant to say Cool Whip, not Miracle Whip. I fucked up and tried to get out of it.
You can't take it back just because we called you out on your nasty Miracle Whip pie bullshit.
Oh God! Wow, man, mixing up the whips, man.
Yeah, dude, putting Miracle Whip on pie, man. They'll throw you in a padded room. Toss you in the loony bin for saying stuff like that, man.
Yeah, I'll toss you off the bridge for saying something like that.
Mm-hmm. But no, this was like in my opinion, this continues to live up to how great Superman has been, and that really I think is what makes Superman so cool. The stories always end strong, but it's the fact that like along the way they keep you wanting to read the next issue, and it doesn't hurt that we basically get Superman every week between Action Comics and Superman and stuff. It doesn't hurt, that we basically have consistent stories, but it's strong, and I'm glad that DC's doing that because it kind of feels like that's how it should be. That like of all the titles DC has, Superman should be the best, and it's incredibly well done. I mean, I mean, at this point, I can't really say it's like the best Superman story to date, but it's starting out extremely strong, and so I'm really excited about where we go from here.
Awesome, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think overall, pretty much everybody likes this book. I gotta tell you, I always wish the art was a little bit better, but it doesn't stop me from reading it. This is one of those books where I'm just like, I like the story so much, I'm just gonna ignore that I don't like the art. Because I don't like the art, I gotta tell you. I'm not a huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
They could put like almost anybody else on there, and I'd be better.
The art on Action is a little nicer, which, hey, we got a whole new Action arc starting soon with the Revenge Society. How cool is that going to be?
Dude, that's going to be so cool.
That sounds like a society I should be a part of, I gotta tell you.
Oh, dude, it's like General Zod with like all of Superman's most dangerous villains ever, like fighting
Tallow,
him. Dude, I'm going to upload that video.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Tiffany
like Superman
just
versus
hanging
everyone.
out like, this is cool, guys. What are we doing today?
Do we
Why-
get jackets?
Why were you in the Phantom Zone?
I don't know. I just wanted to check it out. People say travel places, all right? Like have adventures.
You're just like, I got an Airbnb here.
I did. It's real cool, man. This is cool. I don't know. It was weird because I just kind of threw money into the Phantom Zone, but that worked. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Oh,
took it, but-
that was the
It has,
other
like, 4
little
stars.
that was the other cool little thing too. We got to see Batman milk a cow.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was the cool thing.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping this would turn out to be Bat Cow, to be honest. But
I was gonna say
Yeah.
there was a bat cow itself. Someone has. I guess Alfred milks it. Never mind.
That's Bat Cow.
Technically, it's Damien's responsibility. He was the one who had to have it. But hey, that's how this story can end. Damien can tag on in Bat Cow to help fight evil Cthulhu Cow.
Cthulhu Cow versus Bat Cow.
There's a video title.
I really think they should make
So-
Bat Cat, and the cat just doesn't do anything.
I want
You mean
the
my
return-
cat?
I want the return of the pet titles. Like, I want Pet Avengers back, and I want the Justice League pets back.
Oh, I would freak if they did that. If they were like the new title from DC Rebirth, like all the super animals. I would be like,
Justice
yes, animals are back. I'd be
I
so
want-
hyped.
Crypto's there. He's hanging out.
I
Yeah.
want Majestus pets. I want Crypto. I want Batcat. I want Ace.
That should have been their
Justice
April
Pets.
Fools. They should have just been like, next month, all titles starring animal versions of their characters. Here we go.
Dude, I
Is-
would
is
read that,
Superman
man.
a golden retriever, please?
Yeah, he would be. I can
He
see
I would
that.
read the hell out of it. They need to bring what they need to do. They need to bring back the Zoo Crew. That's what they need. to do.
Crew.
Captain Carrot. Dude, man, Captain Carrot. Man, Captain Carrot. Dude, I love, man, Captain Carrot's a super bunny. I love Captain Carrot. Dude, I love him
You
so
love
much.
Captain Carrot. This is a phrase you're saying aloud. You love Captain Carrot.
Dude, Captain Carrot.
Him and
Dude,
Grant Morrison love Captain.
Captain Carrot is so cool. I love Captain Carrot.
Yeah, at least you know something
I
to talk
feel
to
like
Morrison about.
I feel like I'm reliving Emerald City Comic Con tiff. Remember when Rob explained to us Captain Carrot?
Yeah,
Oh,
man,
yes.
like I don't need to know, man. I don't,
Oh,
I don't
Captain
know.
Carrot. He's a super rabbit. He's a super bunny. I love
I know
Captain
what he
Carrot.
is. It's just as.
he's,
get it.
he's the most adorable
Um,
thing ever.
Okay, so before we wrap up the show, usually I talk about an indie book, and everyone pretty much thought it was going to be Extremity #2, which I did read and like because they are doing an amazing job at world building. Like seriously, the world that they're building, I love it. It's just like gritty and crazy, and like it's like simultaneously apocalyptic and like fantasy in a way. Like I don't know, I really like what they're doing. It really is like if Studio Ghibli did like an apocalyptic comic. I'm like, yeah, cool. Love it. I don't care if you don't want Indy's guy in the chat. You're getting him. Bye then.
There's the door.
Guy in the chat. I don't.
That guy in the chat. That's it. That's what you get now. No, what I am going to talk about really quickly is a new #1 came out from Image called Black Cloud by Jason Latour. I like it a lot. It's really interesting, and the art style weirdly reminds me of like Calvin and Hobbes, even though I clearly know it's not even like that. But like I get like this feel to it. And it's just kind of an interesting book. I really feel like I need to read it again, simply because of the fact that there's a lot going on. And again, another book where they're doing a lot of world building. But seemingly there's a girl, and she's what others are calling an old blood, at least in the world of her dreams, where it's like Inception but not Inception, where like she can bring people into her dreams and like control it as though she's a storyteller. And storytelling is a big part of this whole book. But I don't know, it's, again, they're telling a great mystery story here, also kind of fantasy, a little bit of magic, and I like her as a character, even though, like, she's not very likable right now. Like, there's just something about her that I'm like, all right, like, you're a down-on-your-luck kind of lady who is seemingly from somewhere else. I'm like, that's cool, and, yeah, like, I'm looking forward to reading more of this, and I will. And I don't care what you say in the chat, because I'm going to do it. And I really liked it. And if you want to check it out, go for it. So,
yeah, that would make a really cool story if we had a character who was like a dream walker, like in Marvel or something like that. They just like walk in and out of people's dreams and like manipulate them from their dreams.
That's Nightmare.
Well, yeah. But not a villain. I mean, like a hero that can do that.
Yeah, lots of villains have that power.
Honestly, Moon Knight could have that capability. Like, when you look at what Moon Knight is able to do and crossing into all these different spiritual dimensions, and the fact that demons can enter dreams, even in the Marvel universe, I think that would be cool if Moon Knight could do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Moon Knight, get out of my dreams.
It's just on my
into my
list
car.
of things I want from Moon
Damn it,
Rob.
Rob. Got there first.
Oh, what was that? Was that Billy Ocean? Is that who that was? Bobby Ocean?
I don't know who that is.
Get out of my dreams and into my car. I love that song. I'm gonna listen to that song as soon as we get done.
I think we are pretty much.
Do you imagine using that as a pickup line?
Oh yeah. Hey girl, I want you to get out of my dreams and into my car. Oh my God,
Mace.
You're so sexy.
Mace.
You're such an amazing guy. I definitely want to get into your car. I want to get into your car and run you over for using that pickup line on me.
Well, I got her into my car, then she tried to kill me, so, I mean, you know, okay, Knight.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. What can you say?
That's Rob's greatest dating advice right there. So, basically, guys, we talked a pretty even amount of DC, Marvel this week. We also talked about some indie. Never forget about those guys. Never forget about them, all right? Jeez, just go support them, too. I know it's like you have only so much money. I get it. But overall, this was a pretty good week in comics, and I'm looking forward to what's coming out next week. But before we even get to that, or talking about what's coming out, or what we'll be doing soon, let's talk about where we can find everybody, and what you guys are up to at the end of the week. Rob, what's up?
I can be found on Twitter at Comics Explained, where you will find me splooging. Like when people like, I mean, like when you follow me, not like. Never mind.
No, like it's 24/7.
It's okay, Rob.
That's all it is over there.
All right.
24/7.
Rob would like everyone to know that he has a My Free Cams channel.
Yes, I do. I'm a cam girl secretly.
That's where.
Hey, the economy's tough, man. We all got to do what we got to do to supplement our income, man.
Yeah, man.
I get it.
No judgment.
I get it. Well, or when you're not splooging, what do you have? What are you putting out?
Oh, dude. Okay, so Benny sort of gave me a hard time about this. Benny got so mad at me because like because the way I make my videos are faster than his, and I have Batman Beyond, Batman I Am Bane coming out. Like I have both of those coming out this week, and then there was another one that I have coming out this week that just ended. And Injustice 2 comes out next week, son. Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But those are the two big videos that I have coming out. Saturday, I think I might do another live stream on my channel and just kind of chit-chat with you guys. And Sunday is the OMAC project for Infinite Crisis. Yeah, so we're going to start Infinite Crisis. That's going to be fun. Yep, we get to see Wonder Woman kill a dude.
Cool. I think she's killed like lots of dudes, but okay.
Yeah, she kills Maxwell Lord.
Famous dude.
She does actually kill people.
Yeah, like she's no qualms against that. That's what I like her.
Kills the fuck out of that dude too.
She snaps it, dude. She snaps it like a Twizzler, man. She's,
like a goddamn Slim Jim.
I know all these heroes are like, I have one rule: I don't kill people. And Wonder Woman's like, fuck that rule. That is inefficient for war.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing I love the most. They're like, Superman's like, what did you do? Like, we don't kill people. She's like, you don't, but I do. I kill them all the time.
Nowhere in my rider.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
all right.
You guys gotta stop pussyfooting around these issues and actually kill people, okay? That's Wonder Woman advice.
Yeah, that's fine with me. She does okay in my book. Joel, what you got going on?
Well, as always, I got reviews coming all week for some of the books we talked about, some of the ones we didn't. You can listen to the new episode of the Comic Multiverse over there. And in fact, for episode 52 of the Comic Multiverse, we're doing something a little different. Matt and I are actually going to try and live stream the show. We don't know what time yet, but we're going to try and do that. So hop on by, ask some questions, hang out with us, and the show will be re-uploaded again later.
Nice. Very awesome. How about you, Kaylin?
So you can find me over at That Sea Monster, spelled with a C, not C as in the ocean, C as in comic book. And I just released a video that was the entire plot of the original Judas Contract in 2 minutes. I basically just sat in front of the camera and tried to explain it as fast as I could, which was interesting. I think I'm going to do another one since you guys seem to like my really quick explanations, but I don't know how long it'll be. I hope I could do 2 minutes for everything, but I can't guarantee that. And what else? I do a lot of streaming, so I'll be streaming this weekend. I'll probably be streaming sometime tomorrow night as well, so if you guys want to hop over there. I do a lot of casual streams where we just talk comic books and we hang out, and it's really fun. And yeah, that's about it. And I have a Batgirl video that's coming out this weekend. It's the first 3 of Batgirl's Rebirth story.
Nice.
I don't.
Over on Comic Pop, I had a
all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and bring this episode
Dude! You're
Do
close
not
enough.
incur the wrath of Tiff.
I could drive to you, man.
Oh, man. Rob was stabbed to death by Tiffany into a fit of rage.
No jury in the world would
said she
convict.
supported Wonder Woman's killing ideologies, Rob. Remember that?
Yep.
That just happened. Over on Comic Pop this week for the Elseworlds Exchange, there was actually a pre-recorded Elseworlds Exchange where I got to talk to the Bard of Bardic Broadcasts about D&D, and it was the greatest time of my life, I swear.
Nice.
I love that guy so much. I wish he wasn't in Australia. Like, man, I really wish she was here. Anyway, what?
I was gonna say I discovered him thanks to that video. That was a really good video.
Right. He did the. If you may have seen him through his cracking unboxing of Hero Quest. God, he's great. He's really smart too. Like, he's crazy smart. But also, if you missed back issues this week, it was Superman and Batman, Supergirl, which is just like all the character names in there together. Salman and Ethan had a really good time doing that, so you should go check that out too. Do it. And then once you're all done, check it out all our channels and liking and subscribing, because you probably already are, or you probably did that. But if you haven't, go do that, and then make sure you come back every Tuesday around 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the weekly poll, where we talk about pop culture and all that stuff, and whatever comic booky news came out this week, and rant and rave and argue and just have a good old time. And then make sure you come back every Thursday right here on Eligible Monster for the poll. We talk to you guys about the weekly comics that came out that week, essentially, right? It's a lot of work. We gotta read comics real fast, but we do it. We totally do it.
We do the best we can.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We care.
Because we do care. We do. All right, guys, but that's it for us. This was awesome, and I'm not streaming, so I can't actually end this, so I have to rely completely on Rob to do this. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Peace.